Hi, Deborah. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for listening in. Please meet Debra Chieco. Deborah is a recent grad, so congratulations. She graduated this past May, 2021 grad. And she was an international poly-econ major with a minor in art history and economics. What kind of brought about this conversation today was that Deborah was a UBS student ambassador. And we'll get into a little bit about her time at UBS, but we thought this would be a great success story to share with all students. So during Deborah's time at Fordham, she was involved in a lot of clubs and leadership. She was a new student orientation leader at Fordham. She was also a member of the social innovative Collaboratory, social impact storytelling team for 3 years, and part of USG as a senator for her class, where she attended and acted as the USG budget committee for all 4 years. She was also part of the Fordham Club and a member of the women's rowing team. Her interests are she's interested in both mental and physical health and well-being, and she loves reading and good food. A fun fact about Deborah is last August, she dyed her hair bright pink. But really thankful for you to take the time and share your story with Fordham students and, Fordham alumni students that may have graduated with you this past year, 2020. And if you don't mind, Deborah, would you mind telling us just a little bit about your time at Fordham, maybe how you used Handshake and utilized the Career Services Office?
Sure. So like Lindsay just said, I recently graduated Fordham. I loved Fordham so much. It's really sad. It still stings. But I definitely used Career Services and Handshake my entire undergraduate career. Handshake was really easy to use once you logged in. So I used that to apply to many, many different internships across many, many different fields because I was really unsure about what I wanted to do. And it was just a very simple way to just get your resume out, look through jobs quickly. So I definitely used Handshake. I started off using Career Services mostly for resume help in the beginning because I wanted to get a second look before I started sending them out. Wanted to make sure it was at least correct before I was looking for internships and jobs. And then later on, I started going to the coffee chats and networking events that Career Services held, such as with Bloomberg and Nike. And those are really good ways to practice talking to recruiters in a more informal environment. You could ask questions you wanted to ask. They were here to talk to Fordham students. So I definitely used Career Services during my undergrad.
I love it. It's always so happy for us to hear that. When it comes to your internships, I know that you were the student ambassador with UBS, but do you mind sharing with students, what internships did you have when you were a current student? And then how did they help you prepare for your career?
Sure. So the summer going into my sophomore year, I had an internship, a marketing communications internship with a nonprofit called Live on New York with the goal of registering people to be organ donors. So it wasn't a health sphere. And that was a really cool internship because I'd never done anything like that, working with volunteers and community outreach. So that internship really helped me decide what I did want to do as much as it showed me what I didn't want to do. That was the only other internship I had at Fordham because I studied abroad the summer going into my junior year. And then I had UBS, of course, the summer going into my senior year. But that was a really cool experience because even if it's maybe not the perfect internship that you want and is exactly what you do, you still can gain a lot of really great experiences across many different fields. And that's what that internship was for me.
With that being said, what are some of the skills and experiences, if you don't mind sharing, that are, important for students to know, maybe in the similar major or field as you?
Sure. So I think this is true across all industries, and I'm going into the finance industry now, but I definitely saw it in that internship with the nonprofit. The relationships that you make and maintain are so, so important. I feel like there's a certain stigma around the finance industry that it's very competitive, very cutthroat. But at the end of the day, if your team does well, then you do well. And especially as an intern, you making sure other people look good makes you look good. So it's all about being able to work with other people, being a team player, because that's really how you get things done. And lifting other people up around you is how you make yourself look better. It's how you learn everything you possibly can. So I think that's just the number one thing, knowing how to collaborate and effectively work as a team. And that's across any internship, but any industry, I feel. But with finance, it was one of the things that I didn't realize was as true as it ended up being in the internship.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like you're also like explaining a lot of your experience as a Fordham rower on the rowing team, right?
True. Yes.
So I feel like
yeah,
a lot of skill sets are definitely transferable, especially with athletes. That grit, the determination, the teamwork, camaraderie. So really, really neat for you to share that with students. What helped you stand out in the interview process specifically?
Sure. So going into once I realized that I wanted to start seriously looking at opportunities in finance and specific internships, I felt initially that I wasn't the perfect candidate because I wasn't in the business school. I didn't have any other experience with other finance internships. So the thing that made me stand out the most was not focusing on what I did or didn't know or comparing myself to the typical candidate, but really just honing in on what made me unique and like my track record that I had to prove that I was a hard worker, that I was a team player. So bringing that up at every stage in the interview, making sure that they knew I was here to learn. I had a great attitude. I was a team player, and it didn't matter that I didn't have an internship at a bank last summer. It didn't matter that I wasn't this specific major, that I was there to learn. And I made sure to show that my attitude, my willingness to learn came through the most.
And that definitely rewarded you in so many ways, right? I mean, now that you have a full-time offer with UBS, so congrats.
Thank you.
All your hard work has paid off and, moving forward into all the goals you have for the future. If you don't mind, we'll kind of segue onto the academic side, because this was really helpful for the career side and professional development. But specifically at Fordham, what classes did you enjoy the most during your undergraduate degree?
Sure. So I'll say first, like full transparency, I was very on the fence about whether or not I wanted to go into the business school or stay within liberal arts. And I came into Fordham undecided because I really wasn't sure. I knew I was interested in business. I knew that one day I did want to pursue it. But once I decided to continue within Fordham College and stick to IPE major, I was very much in a mindset of I'm just going to take the classes that I want. I'm going to take the things that interest me. So when I started picking classes, I went by professors, and I'm thinking the classes that stood out to me the most were the ones with fantastic professors, like statistics with Dr. Quintanar, definitely, painting with Professor Sheehan, money and banking with Professor Greatrex, and another one, Paris Modernism, I took my last semester with Professor Walsh. These are just great classes because the professors were great and the class environments were great. And those are the ones that stick out to me the most. It wasn't just being presented information, it was actually engaging and learning the things you wanted to pursue. So I have no regrets with my undergraduate coursework or career. I'm ultimately really happy that I stayed within Fordham College, but I was happy that I had my economics minor, so I had more exposure to the business school related courses.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. What do you feel are the experiences during your time at Fordham contributed to your success?
So as a freshman, I was in the Manresa program in Loyola Hall, and that was definitely the best way to start Fordham for me personally. That was a really supportive environment. I met my best friends who are still my best friends. Coming in as a freshman, it was a really great community, like a community within a community. And I also started I joined the rowing team as a freshman right from the beginning. So I think finding those communities within communities was the biggest help because you just had that much more of a support system and to pursue the things that you wanted to. And also because I didn't just stick to rowing, I think it's really easy to find one thing you love and then just kind of cross out everything else. But being able to dive into different other clubs and activities, different ways to get involved around campus, that kept things interesting and challenging, and it allowed me to meet a lot of really cool people.
Awesome. That segues us right into our final question, because thank you so much for your time. And in the essence of your time, we'll wrap up with, do you have any advice for Fordham students? And, what would you recommend that they do in regards to maybe your career path or just their time at Fordham?
I think take advantage of it. It's easy to say now, now that I graduated, because I loved my time and I really didn't want to have any regrets. And that's hard to say too, that I don't have any regrets, but you really want to take advantage of everything. Like I said before, I'm really happy that I stayed with my IPE major and that I pursued the classes that I wanted to take. And I wasn't so narrowly focused on what I thought maybe recruiters wanted to hear down the line. I think also honing in on what makes you unique and not freaking out because you're maybe not the ideal candidate in any field, not just the finance field. Because if I let that stop me, if I continue to say, because I did, like, I'm not the kind of person that could make it through the interviews. I'm not the kind of person that could like the internship, succeed in it, but I did. And I'm really, really happy that I didn't kind of let myself stand in my way. So really figure out and hone in on what makes you unique, run with it, and then just work really hard and prepare, because that's all you can do at the end of the day.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And like you said, it's kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and, facing challenges head on. And if, I can share some advice also to students, take advantage of the career services office. Come to us, see us, have a mock interview, have us look at your resume, utilize Handshake like Debra did, because you don't realize the opportunity that may be out there just for Fordham specific students. And there's lots of employers like UBS that recruit specifically at Fordham. We have a lot of signature partners. So thank you so much, Debra, for your time. We are so excited for you to have grown and graduated, but now with a full-time offer with UBS, you're going to have a really bright future, and it's a great opportunity. So thanks for joining us today and sharing your story with Fordham students. And
thank you so much, Lindsay.